Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. This is Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. The Panthers had a 3-1 lead in the series before the Maple Leafs took back-to-back overtime victories. Bob Pulford with the game winner in Game 5. Dave Keon, the Maple Leafs captain, with the winning tally in Game 6. That sends us back here to Sunrise, Florida for Game 7, where the Panthers will try to avoid letting their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals slip away from them. Should be a good one here. Storyline, the Maple Leafs will be without Erik Karlsson. Karlsson, trade pickup during the season, has been terrific, but he is out with an ankle injury for this one. Alan Stanley will move up to the top pair with King Clancy. Gus Mortson will slide on to the third line. Other than that, both sides are healthy. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander for Toronto. Huberdeau, Barkov, and Verhaeghe for the Panthers. Game 7. Puck drop now. Florida gets control early. Huberdeau up the near side, looks into the center, looks for Barkov. Matthews pokes it away from him, and here come the Leafs through the neutral zone. Matthews tries to send it in, gets deflected a bit, and ends up going out of play. And we will have a neutral zone faceoff 21 seconds in. Auston Matthews, the league's leading goal scorer during the regular season, leads the league in goals throughout the playoffs. Here's Marner. Marner tries to get inside of Svala, but Svala gets him off the puck. Nice work there by Robert Svala defensively. Huberdeau to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe pass picked off by Matthews. Here's Clancy. Clancy through the neutral zone as it poked away. He's fouled Forsling. Sends it down the ice for the Leafs to go for a change. Florida keeps in the zone, feed in the middle. Huberdeau, shot goes wide. Good job by Broda there. Whips the stick out to try to poke that one a little bit further away into the corner. Marner to Clancy. Clancy loses it to Barkov, though. Barkov to Svala. Svala to Barkov. Barkov with a backhand there with a man draped all over him. Kirk Broda with the save. He will hold on for the faceoff. Jokinen, Reinhart, and Dadonov now out for Florida. Sittler, Keon, and Babe Dye, the forward line for the Leafs. Brewer to Sittler. Sittler to Keon. Keon with the overtime winner in Game 6. Dye into the corner. Touch it back. Feeds Keon rushing towards the net. Keon can't get control of it, though. Brian Campbell, who had a rough game for the Panthers in Game 6, gets it to Florida. His pass misses the mark. Corner across to Sittler. To Keon. Brewer. Back to Keon. Florida trying to put a lot of pressure on early. Here comes Keon, though. Keon finds his space. Carries. Tries to get it into the middle. Niedermeyer is able to pick that one off. Campbell to Kulikov. Kulikov's pass can't connect. Red Horner. Horner, who was just a physical menace in Game 6. 8 hits for Horner in that game. And it felt like each of them was a bone-jarring hit. Sittler whips this around behind the Florida net. Campbell goes into the corner. Keon presses. Dye comes in to help. Dye out to the point. Brewer loses control, but Horner is there to back him up. Niedermeyer across the blue line. Puts one towards the net, and Horner with a hit there on Niedermeyer takes him down. Horner gets taken down, though. Not sure who that was to put the hit on Red Horner, but Horner gets a taste of his own medicine there. Leafs send it down into the Florida end. Bob Pulford taken down by Mikkola. Cross ice pass to Kozlov there is poked away by Matthews. Goes all the way back down behind the Florida net. Matthews now putting some pressure on. Pulford feeding in the middle. Oh, boy, I couldn't see who that was who tried to get that shot off. A lunging attempt. Misses the mark. Kozlov to Horton. Horton in the slot. Shot saved by Broda. Goes wide. Horton gets his own rebound. Sends it along the end boards. Matthews into the corner there. Gets pressured. Matthews, dangerous feed in front of the net. Probably not where Matthews wants to be putting that puck. Puck goes clear out of the zone. Racing for it. Mikkola gets there ahead of Matthews. Matthews gets taken down there. No call. Mikkola being pressured. There's a takedown, and that one is going to be a call, and it's Rick Babe. Babe, 22. Again, I still have to get super familiar with all of the numbers. But that was Babe who had that shot attempt before. That misses the mark. His stick does not miss the mark across the back of Mikkola. We have our first penalty of the game. 7:27 of the opening stanza here in Florida. First power play opportunity for the Panthers. 20.9 on the power play in the postseason for Florida. But the Leafs, who did a great job on the kill in Game 6, as a whole have been terrible on the penalty kill. They're allowing almost 26% against them throughout the playoffs, even with the 0 for 5 by the Panthers in Game 6. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau, the power play line for Florida. Toronto wins the draw. Thompson tries to get it clear, pulled out of the sky there, kept in the zone momentarily. Now it exits. Verhaeghe goes back to retrieve. Huberdeau leaves it for Reinhart. Reinhart across the blue line, tries to get a shot off. It's blocked. Clancy picks up the loose chains, gets it to Kennedy. Here comes Armstrong through the neutral zone. He has it poked away. Vela's pass misses the mark. Verhaeghe has to go into the corner to retrieve it. Reinhart through the neutral zone. Evades the check along the far side boards. Huberdeau tries to get one towards the net. It's deflected. Reinhart gets it. Huberdeau cuts inside. Nice move by Huberdeau. Now he leaves it for Spalo. Over to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe to Jokinen. Jokinen with a shot. Pad save by Broda into the corner. Thompson retrieves. Tries to get it clear. Hits it. Huberdeau was able to keep it in before Toronto was able to poke it out. Carter Verhaeghe trying to start another rush here. Spalo's pass can't be handled. Armstrong has it. 50 seconds left on the Florida power play. Spalo and Lundell. Good job on the forecheck by Kennedy. Kennedy putting in some work there, gets double teamed, but helps kill off some time, keeping the puck down deep in the Florida end. Now here's Scott Mellanby. Mellanby across the blue line for Florida. Spins it around behind the net. Lundell to Jokinen. Jokinen to Campbell. Campbell throws one towards the net. Thompson blocks it and then gets hammered, but Toronto is able to get the puck clear. 5 seconds left on the Florida power play. David Booth to Spala. Dadonov. Dave is out of the box. We're back at even strength. Here's Dadonov at the circle. Feed into the middle, and there's going to be another penalty, and it's going to be another one on the Maple Leafs. Mitch Marner, not always a usual suspect to go to the box, gets whistled here. We'll see what the call is down behind the Florida net. Say that Marner held him a little bit too long. That's a ticky-tack call in a Game 7. I don't think you can be blowing that whistle there. 9:40 into the period, and the Leafs are back on the kill again. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau. He's in the middle, taken by Wendell Clark. Here's Keon. Keon, 2 shorties in Game 5, has a breakaway on Luago. He beats him again. Third shorthanded goal of the series for Dave Keon. Goals in 3 straight games. 4th goal of the playoffs for Keon. All of them in those past 3 games. Unbelievable. Talk about clutch. Dave Keon, who did not have a goal in the playoffs. He had 8 assists, but no goals until Game 5 here of the semifinals. Scores 2 shorties in the elimination game in Game 5. Scores the overtime winner in Game 6. And now a shorthanded goal in Game 7 to give the Maple Leafs a 1-0 lead. 10:09 left in the first. Wendell Clark with the assist. And the air has come out of the balloon here in Florida. Jokinen to Dadonov. Dadonov feeding in the middle, picked off by Horner. And that's going to go over the boards, and that's going to be a delay of game. Red Horner's clearance under pressure goes over the glass, and Horner is going to get whistled for a delay of game call. So now it's going to be 5-on-3 for the Panthers for a decent time. That's a minute 39 of 5-on-3 hockey. Shot saved by Broda, who holds on. Dave Keon, just an unbelievable effort in these last 3 games. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau. Mortson gets it clear. Keon, in real life, the Maple Leafs' all-time leader in shorthanded goals. I believe that, I looked that up the other day, I believe it was 31 in his career. He is doing that here in the postseason. Verhaeghe, slapper, screen in front, Broda stays with it and makes the save. Oslov, Jokinen, and Dadonov now out there for Florida. Keon. See if he can get a 5-on-3 shorty. There have not been a ton of shorthanded goals in the playoffs, but Dave Keon been the unicorn in that regard. He's putting pressure here on Horton, who goes behind the Florida net. But that leaves Keon trapped up ice a little bit. Florida pass a little bit behind Jokinen. That disrupts the flow. Jokinen tries to leave it for Kozlov. This is the mark. Horton has it now. Horton from the circle. Horton rips a shot, goes wide, and it's going to leave the zone. Campbell, Florida has to exit the zone to regroup. Dadonov skates in to Jokinen, to Kozlov, back to Jokinen. Jokinen hits the post. Campbell with the rebound, feeds it behind the net to Dadonov. Dadonov tries to stuff it, Broda steals it off. 15 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Keon tries to get it clear. Campbell pulls it down in the neutral zone. Florida will have to reset once again. Kozlov to Horton. Horton turns it over to Keon. Keon shovels this one down and will go behind the Florida net. We're now at 5-on-4 for another 18 seconds. Campbell kicks it up the boards. Breakaway from Reinhart. Up. Nope, Thompson was there. I'm sorry, I lost track of Thompson there. I thought that was a breakaway coming. Thompson whips this one down the ice with authority, and that will kill off the power play. We're back at even strength. The Maple Leafs have fixed their penalty kill at the right time. Here's Barkov. Barkov through the neutral zone, has it poked away. Marner. Thompson. Thompson has it poked away from him, but it rolls in on Broda. The Leafs have one shot so far in this game. They have a 1-0 lead. 7:17 left in the first. Horner gets taken down. He wants a call, and he's going to get it. David Booth. So Red Horner's physicality throughout this series certainly drawing some attention. He was taken down before in questionable fashion with no call. And that, I'll tell you, that didn't really look like a cross-check there. Horner draws that penalty. David Booth goes to the box. He kind of rode him a bit. But that certainly didn't seem like a cross-check there. But now the Leafs will get a power play opportunity. Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. Penalty to David Booth. Keep going to Lundell. Lundell sends it behind the Toronto net. Dave goes into the corner for it. Here's Marner. Marner to Matthews. Matthews, good move there. Gets it to Marner. Marner skates in. Tries to find Nylander. It's stolen, but then Nylander gets it back. Goes behind the net. Mikkola kicks it along the end board. Nylander rushes to the net. Has it poked away by Anton Lundell. Nice play there. Banks it off the glass, and it gets past. Goes all the way down the ice. Florida will have to reset. Wendell Clark finds Nylander. Nylander checked, dislodged from the puck, but gets it again. Checked off the puck again. Sends it down behind the net. Van Ryn gets it. To Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer gets it clear. Toronto not doing much on this power play in the first minute. Jokinen rips off a shot after the steal. Sittler blocks it. Armstrong cross ice. Clancy has it. Clancy's pass tries to go all the way across. Lundell picks it off, flips it down the ice, and Florida may be able to get the forecheck there. Jokinen the first man to it. Jokinen cross ice to Lundell, stretching things out. Svela has it poked away from him. But Kulikov is there to back him up. Sittler to Pulford. Bob Pulford carries wide, looking for something. Throws it towards the net. Luongo with the save on somewhat of a floater there. He will hold on for the faceoff. Kennedy, Keon, and Dye, the forward line for Toronto. Morton and Barkov on the kill. Barkov wins the draw. Turnover, though. Babe Dye. Dye tries to get a shot off. That's blocked. Van Ryn gets it out of the zone. Penalty has been killed off by Florida. We're back at even strength. Dave across to Dye. Dye to Clark. Clark to Dave Keon. Keon gets chipped. Goes down to a knee, but gets up quickly. Here's Booth, who took that penalty. And Booth gets crushed by Wendell Clark. I'll tell you, when Toronto has had the best of this series, it's been their physicality that has carried the day. Dye gets ridden into the corner, keeps control, though. Great work by Babe Dye. His centering pass finds no one. Nathan Horton gets it for Florida. Horton to Van Ryn. Van Ryn's shot misses the mark, goes wide. Inside 4 minutes left in the opening period. Dick Duff. Duff fights his way through to Kennedy. Kennedy's pass misses the mark. Barkov gets it through the neutral zone. Sends it down around the boards. Battle there along the near side boards. 4-man scrum. It pops out to Mikkola, who gets it over to Van Ryn. Back to Mikkola to Van Ryn. Van Ryn fees off. Another slapper. Misses the mark. Hits the end boards. Bounces back towards the net. Rhoda puts the clamps on that one before the faceoff. Wendell Clark here with the big hit. Ooh, that was violent. Clark with a shot. Looked like the guy's head hit the ice there, too. Clark among the hit leaders. There you see Red Horner, the second most hits in the league after an 8-hit performance in Game 6. Marner to Nylander. Nylander sends it around behind the boards. Campbell gets control for Florida. And there's going to be another penalty, and it's going to be on Horner. So Horner toes that line. He gets called here. I don't know. There wasn't much of anything there. So we've had a couple of debatable calls in this one. Player gets sandwiched there. And if anybody was guilty of the cross-check, I don't think it was Horner. I think it was the guy who was with him. I didn't catch the number there. But Red Horner, perhaps a reputation throwing that call. And Florida's back on the power play. Verhaeghe, shot, block, goes into the corner. Jokinen, is that enough? Back to Jokinen. Jokinen feed in the middle, give and go. Jokinen hits the post for the second time. And it's another penalty on the Leafs, and it's Gus Mortson. I'll tell you, the Leafs are certainly trying to make things difficult on them. I thought that was a bad call on Horner, to be fair. But the Leafs, again, their physicality has kind of brought them back into this series, but they've got to be careful. That one, less of a doubt. Cross-check and up high and in the front. Finds Gus Mortson in the box. Mortson and Horner will have a chance to commiserate for a while. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau for Florida. They'll have a minute 47 of 5-on-3. Toronto wins the faceoff. Brewer flips it down the ice. Verhaeghe gets hit behind the net. Gets it clear. Brewer gets control. Brewer's pass misses the mark. Robert Svela. And Svela turns it over but gets it back. Barkov. Barkov be in the middle. Huberdeau shot saved by Baroda. They try to get it clear. Svela chases it down in the neutral zone. Across to Barkov to Reinhart across the blue line. Reinhart tries to beat Brewer unsuccessfully. Pressure in the corner. Brewer gets it out of there. Gets it to Alan Stanley. Stanley flips this one down the ice. Florida will have to go back to retrieve. Minute 17 left in period number 1 here of Game 7. Reinhart through the neutral zone, across the blue line. Reinhart gets stood up by Carl Brewer, pokes it away, sends it down the ice, and Florida will have to regroup. Campbell goes back for it. Huberdeau to Mellenby. Campbell. Niedermeyer across the blue line. Niedermeyer, shot, blocked. Good shift here from Carl Brewer. Campbell to Niedermeyer, over to Lundell. 15 seconds of 5-on-3 left. Niedermeyer shot, pad save by Broda. Into the corner, Mellenby retrieves. Carries it in, another pad save by Broda. Thompson pressured behind the net. Mellenby goes in to help, gets it to Lundell. Lundell across to Campbell. Shot, great save by Broda. Campbell teed that one up. Broda looking sharp for Toronto here in Game 7. They send it down the ice. The power play is done. We're back at even strength, and the Maple Leafs penalty kill gets it done again. Breakout pass though for Verhaeghe. Shot. Misses the mark, goes wide. Verhaeghe behind the net tries to get it in front, but they run out of time. And period 1 comes to a close. Game 7 giving us everything we could possibly ask for. Turk Broda giving the Leafs everything they could ask for in the early going. So is Dave Keon. He's got the only goal of the game. Another shorthanded goal from Keon. Leafs lead at 1-0 after 1. Florida outshot Toronto 12-3 in that opening period. They trail 1-0. Toronto with the advantage in the hits, although Florida has started to bring their physicality, not really the hallmark of this group. But they're trying to match Toronto's physicality. Toronto with 10 penalty minutes in the opening period. 0 for 5 on the power play in a single period for the Panthers. And you got to give credit and blame. Again, the Maple Leafs penalty kill has been terrible throughout the playoffs. But they have righted the ship here over these last 2 games. And Florida's inability to convert. If Florida goes on to lose this game and this series, that's going to be a big, big story. The lone goal, Dave Keon on the breakout pass from Wendell Clark. His 3rd shorthanded goal of the series, his 4th goal of the series in the last 3 games. The Maple Leafs captain coming up, the definition of clutch here in this semifinal series. So, we're going to steal a quick drink here and get back down to the ice here in Sunrise, Florida. The sunrise will set on somebody's season here in Game 7. 1-0 Leafs as we start the second period. Auston Matthews and Nylander, Huberdeau, Barkov, and Verhaeghe, your starting lines. And we're underway here in period number 2. Very quickly, an offsides call. 6 seconds in, we'll have another faceoff. Mitch Marner, no goals, but 11 assists throughout the postseason. Would love to see Marner find the net, but he's been happy to be a facilitator. Matthews to Marner. Marner tries to split the defenders. Forsling pokes it away. Here comes Jonathan Huberdeau. Huberdeau racing in on Broda. Shot saved by Broda. Huberdeau follows, gets his rebound, feet in front. Shot, another save by Broda, who holds on. It has not been a strong playoff for Turk Broda, but he was solid in Game 6 after being benched for Game 5. And he has been their lead dog throughout the season. He gets the Game 7 start here, and he has looked more like his regular season self here in Game 7 so far. Top lines still out. Barkov between the circles. Blocker saved by Broda. Flecks it into the corner. Stanley gets it. Huberdeau wins it from Matthews. Shot there, steered wide. Huberdeau tries to drive to the net. Alan Stanley is able to stand him up, though, keep him from doing so. Vela picks it off in the neutral zone. Florida keeping the pressure on. Huberdeau to Barkov. Goes down into the corner. Poke towards the net. Clancy gets control of it, but Broda actually puts his That no chances to be taken. Sittler, Keon, and Dye now on the ice for the Maple Leafs. Keon wins it. Corner. Corner gets tied up. Tries to whip it along the boards. Ends up hitting. Looks like the stanchion along the bench. We will have a neutral zone faceoff. Keon has been sensational on the dot. Loses that one, though. Florida gets control. Dadonov down behind the Toronto net. Corner goes back for it. Corner reverses direction. Pass gets away, though. Dadonov gets it for Florida. To Reinhart. Reinhart carries towards the net. Broda is able to cover it up. Reinhart did not get much on that one. On the whole, Florida certainly had the better of the play. They don't have the better of the scoreboard, though, and that's the only thing that matters. Forsling being pressured across ice to Dadonov. Dadonov whips it back across ice, but a little bit too far ahead. Corner picks it off to Sittler. The Brewer. The corner across. Here's Babe Dye along the near side, across the blue line. Dye tries to feed it into the middle. Sittler tries to pull the trigger, but it gets poked away. Here's Jokinen. Jokinen across the blue line. Jokinen, feed in the middle. Dadonov shot wide on the one-timer. Dave Dye gets it along the boards. He gets pressured. Horner goes in to help. Dadonov comes out of there with it, though. Forsling through traffic, deflected wide. Bob Pulford along the high side boards. Pulford's pass picked off by Reinhart. Reinhart rushing in, takes a shot. Blocker saved by Broda. Horner goes into the corner to get it. Horner carrying to Pulford. Pulford to Babe Dye. Dye rips a shot from a distance. Pad save there from Luongo. Here come the Panthers the other way. Carter Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe evades the check, but he had already made his decision to give the puck up there. Kennedy to Wendell Clark. Clark through the neutral zone. Takes the blue line. Clark looks for some help. Gets it to Thompson. Ends up behind the Florida net. Lundell to Carter Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe through the neutral zone. Takes the blue line. Verhaeghe with a slap shot wide. Whips around the boards. Trapped along the near side. Scrum there. Florida comes out of there with it. Good job by Victor Kozlov. Kozlov to Campbell. To Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe skates in. Rips off a shot. Broda with the save. Steers it wide. Thompson to Kennedy. Florida again putting pressure on. Kennedy doesn't really know where to go there. Tries to take it behind the net. Lundell wins it from him. Feed in front. Backhand misses the mark. Good feed from Lundell. Shot unsuccessful, though. 13 minutes left in period 2. Thompson turns it over. Lundell should score! Oh, what a huge turnover by Thompson, and Florida's pressure pays off. Anton Lundell with his second goal of the postseason. Thompson tries to send that up, and he just didn't see Lundell there. He's trying to get that pass up to Rick Babe at the blue line. Lundell steals it, pulls the trigger quickly. And the Florida Panthers tie this game at 1. Game 7 is all knotted up at 12:55 of period number 2. Second goal of the playoffs for Lundell, and the crowd at Florida feeling it now. And we mentioned the Panthers have had the better of the play overall. They're out shooting Toronto 18-4. Nikola carries along the near side boards, takes the blue line. Feed into the middle. Mellanby. Mellanby's shot is blocked. Mellanby takes a hit afterwards as well. Alan Stanley pinned along the boards. Kicks it to Nylander. Niedermeyer and Nylander battle for it. Nylander able to get it to Clancy. Clancy sets Marner free across the blue line. Nice move into the middle. Cut in the middle there by Marner. Good feed from Clancy to Matthews. Luongo stones him on the doorstep. Oh, best opportunity in a while for the Leafs. Auston Matthews on the doorstep. Luongo with the pad save. Nylander to Clancy. Clancy to Matthews. Matthews carries. Matthews rushes towards the net, tries to pull the trigger, has his pocket picked by Van Ryn. Mellenby to Jokinen. Jokinen across the blue line. Works on Horner, gives it to Lundell. Lundell's shot, not much on that one. Broda with the glove save. He will hold on and cover up. Florida matching the intensity of the Leafs. And then some. Huberdeau, feet in the middle. Brewer picks it off. Dick Duff carries through the neutral zone across the blue line. Duff to Babe. Babe with a shot. Glove save by Luongo, who holds on. Toronto has tried to turn this into a punishing wear-down series. Florida has started to match that energy a bit. Spayla to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe cuts in the middle. Horner picks up the loose puck. Horner pressured from behind. Now pins his man along the boards. Now Horner gets trapped. Four-man scrum along the near side boards. Huberdeau. Oh, Huberdeau's pass. I believe that was Barkov. I don't think Barkov was expecting that pass. Huberdeau looked like he was going to shoot. Barkov couldn't hold on to it. Barkov's pass there is picked off by Duff. Barkov wins it back, gets it to Verhaeghe to Huberdeau. Huberdeau across the blue line. Huberdeau to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe has it poked away by Pulford before he can pull the trigger. Duff through the neutral zone. Takes the blue line. Dick Duff waiting patiently. Mortson tries to throw it towards the net. Kulikov blocks it. Gets it up to Kozlov. Kozlov. Feed to Jokinen. Jokinen shot goes wide. Slap shot there, misses the net by a country mile, whips around the boards. Armstrong gets control. Armstrong carries, trying to break it out. He gets it up to Kennedy. Kennedy to Matthews. Matthews across the blue line. Auston Matthews. Florida giving him nothing, but he gets the rebound off of Kennedy's shot and stuffs it home. Auston Matthews, 12th goal of the playoffs. Gives the Maple Leafs the lead. The league's leading scorer. Kennedy pokes this puck away towards the net. And Luongo with the kick save, but Matthews is right there for it. And puts it home for the goal. Auston Matthews. That puck was on. I think Mikkel was 77. I don't remember who 7 is. But it looked like Kennedy pokes that off the defender's stick. It hits off of Luongo for the save. And Matthews buries it. 2-1 Leafs. Strap in, folks. This is a good one. Keon to Sittler. Sittler across the blue line. Keon wins it. Keon, good feed into the middle. Shot, save. Luongo holds on to it. Sittler, Keon, and Dye. Lundell, Kozlov, and Horton, your forward lines at the moment. Kozlov wins the draw. They would have Forsling. Forsling, Lundell. Lundell has it poked away. Gus Mortson has it for Toronto. Mortson playing with the injury to Erik Karlsson. And Karlsson acquired earlier on in the season in a trade. Trying to bolster the defensive core. Trade that sent Doug Gilmour. Attacking Barkov with a great move. Drives to the net, but Broda stands up against him on the doorstep and is able to hold on to the puck. Booth, Niedermeyer, and Mellenby for Florida. 5:04 left in the second. Florida has doubled Toronto up on shots. Toronto has doubled Florida up on goals. Keon carries, feed into the middle. Forsling intercepts, gets it to Booth. Booth pass to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer being pressured by Keon from behind. Keon back to Booth. Booth carries in. Booth with a good feed. Ends up being deflected wide of the net. King Clancy retrieves. Clancy tries to get it clear. Booth blocks it. Booth carries it. Feed into the middle. Shot, not sure that ever got through. But Toronto comes the other way. Van Ryn to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer loses it to Clancy. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy has it poked away. Van Ryn gets it up to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer cross ice. Barkov has a little bit of trouble corralling and broke his stride there. Feed across. Wendell Clark with the interception. Clark across the blue line. Wendell Clark holding, looking for help. Feeds down to Marner. Marner has it stolen by Barkov. Inside 3 minutes left in the second period here of Game 7 of this Eastern Conference semifinal. Huberdeau cuts to the middle. Huberdeau shot, great save by Broda. Lundell gets the rebound, tries to make the feed on the one-timer, and it's whiffed on. Here come the Leafs the other way. Pulford through the neutral zone across the blue line. Pulford feed across to Armstrong. Armstrong shot, saved by Luongo, who holds on. Turk Broda has been outstanding in this one. He has faced consistent pressure. There's Huberdeau, and that is a beautiful blocker save from Turk Broda. Jokinen, Reinhart, and Dadonov. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. 2:15 left in the second. Brewer leaves it for Horner. Horner shot. Bad save by Luongo. Goes to the corner where Marner retrieves it. Kulikov pressures him, forces it loose. Here's Campbell. Campbell speed to Reinhart. Reinhart across the blue line to Dadonov. Dadonov tries to get the shot off. Nylander prevents it. Here's Auston Matthews. Matthews can't get the shot off. Reinhart all over. He's fighting for flow at the moment. Here's Matthews. Matthews rips off a shot. Saved by Luongo. Dadonov through the neutral zone. Final minute here of period number 2. It's down behind the Toronto net. Brewer goes back for it. Tries to get it out. Dadonov keeps it in the zone, and we're going to have a penalty. And it's going to be on Carl Brewer. And the Panthers are going to get another power play. So the Leafs, who took 5 penalties in the opening period. Yeah, I don't know. We've seen some blatant ones. That certainly didn't seem it. Let them play, ref. Florida 0 for 5 on the power play. They'll get another crack here. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau out there for the Panthers. 40 seconds remain. Shot deflected. Oh, boy. Broda got lucky there. That was a loose puck. Huberdeau didn't see it. Huberdeau tries to stuff it past Broda on that one. Broda with the save. Toronto gets it out of the zone. Huberdeau. Pass there taken by Thompson. Kennedy to Armstrong. Armstrong across the blue line. Armstrong sends it behind the net. Verhage gets there first, though, for Florida. He will carry out. Final 5 seconds. Reinhart crosses the blue line, tries to get a shot off. Hits off a skate, goes into the corner. And that's how period number 2 will come to a close. Everything a Game 7 should be, we've got here. Leafs lead the Panthers 2-1 as we head into the second intermission. And Florida doubling them up on shots, 24-12. Toronto with a hits advantage, but only by a couple. And Florida started to try to measure the physicality. Toronto had, I believe it was 28 hits in Game 2. Second half of that game picked that up, but Toronto clearly, especially after that first period, they may have taken a little bit of their aggressiveness away from them. Worried about going to the box. So they have a man in the box now. Goals in the period, Anton Lundell with the goal here. Again, we'll take a look at this one in full time. Full screen mode. Pass across to Thompson. Thompson, now you see, Vave is going to try to release out there, get out to the blue line. Thompson's going to try to send it up to him. And he just never even sees, he thinks Lundell is behind him. He just doesn't see him. And Lundell puts the stick out, a beautiful steal there. Lundell rips the shot off to beat Broda. That knotted things at 1. But Auston Matthews Matthews across the blue line. Tries to get the shot off. It's blocked. It's deflected. That's Kulikov. Now watch Kennedy here. Kennedy whips the stick from behind. Oh, he didn't even hit it with this. He didn't even hit it with his stick. Kennedy just kind of forces Kulikov towards the net. Jars the puck loose. Luongo with the kick save. But Matthews banks it off the inside of the post. Well, let's get ready. Final 20 minutes, potentially. We've had 2 overtime games in a row in games 5 and 6. We'll see if we do the same here in game 7. Let's get back down to the ice. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau. They have a minute 19 left on the power play. Toronto wins the draw. Armstrong sends it down, takes a hit, but gets it clear. Verhaeghe to Barkov. Barkov's pass is off the mark. Mortson to Horner. Horner's pass banked off the boards. Kennedy has it. Kennedy rushing. Far side. Kennedy drives to the net. Shot saved by Luongo. We'll take a little more of a look here at Broda, who has just been outstanding for the Leafs in this one. He was solid in Game 6. He has been better than solid here. And it has not been a great postseason for Walter Turk Broda. He's coming up at the right time for Toronto. Still Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau. 51 seconds left on the power play. Armstrong wins the draw. Out to the point, mishandled. Here come the Panthers. Reinhart. Reinhart across the blue line. Use it behind him for Svela. Svela across, one-timer. Shot saved by Broda, who tracks it well. Face-off coming to his left. 36 ticks on the power play. Barkov wins the draw. Svela, shot, saved by Broda. Glove save, he snares it. So Svela, of course, had that huge goal to tie Game 5 with 34 seconds remaining. He's one up here, but Broda, that's as good as it gets, folks. That looked pretty. It may have actually gone over the crossbar, but still. Terrific grab there by Broda. On the draw, goes towards the net. Horner gets it. Horner sends it clear. Florida will have to go back to regroup. That'll take us down inside 20 seconds. Verhaeghe, good breakout pass to Reinhart. Reinhart up the near side board. He gets obliterated by Horner. And then Horner puts it out of play. That's the second time that's happened. Horner, after the big hit, puts it out of play, a delay of game call on the Leafs. And we're back to 5-on-3. I'll tell you, Toronto sure isn't making this easy on themselves. Jokin in on the draw. He's got Kozlov and Dadonov flanking him. 12 seconds of 5-on-3. Followed by 1:48 of a man advantage. Toronto's penalty kill being heavily tested here in Game 7. Campbell starts to rush across the blue line. Campbell tries to tee it up. It's deflected. Campbell wins it back. Campbell shot. And saved by Broda. Jokinen has it. Jokinen carries. Shot blocked by Stanley. Goes behind the net. Florida keeping the pressure on. Jokinen with the feed. Shot saved by Broda. Clancy gets the rebound. Gets it clear. It's going to go all the way down the ice. So we're now to 5-on-4. Minute 23 remaining on the power play for Florida. Dadonov being pressured. Campbell. Brewer wins it. Brewer shot saved by Luongo. Possibly Luongo's best save of the game. Almost another shorty for the Leafs, and it wasn't Keon. Probably why it wasn't a goal. Sittler pressured by Horton. King Clancy being ridden hard there. by Kozlov. Feed in front, down and off. Backhand save by Broda. Kozlov's pass picked off. Jokinen now has it. Kozlov tries to pull the trigger. Sittler lifts his stick. He can't get the shot off. Kozlov stays with it and wins it, though. Horton shot. Hits. It looked like that hit off Brewer's skate and goes over the glass into the seats. And we will have a face-off. 40 seconds left on the Panthers' power play. Just more Turk Broda. And there's Luongo, so both goalies doing what they can. Splitsville for Luongo. Beautiful save there. The Leafs have killed off all 6 Florida penalties. There's still 40 seconds left on this one. Reinhart with the steal shot. Glove save by Broda. Turk Broda is on it. Reinhart, Barkov, and Huberdeau for Florida. Clark and Keon out there for Toronto. 35 seconds left on the Panthers' man advantage. Reinhart to Svela. Svela's shot, tip-in attempt, and Broda's up to the task. Steers it wide. Clark into the corner. Huberdeau comes out of there with it. Svela tries to take a slapper, breaks his stick. Puck goes behind the net. Morrison goes back there for it. Oh boy. Huberdeau gets hammered. That puck is cleared, and Huberdeau is slow getting up. Verhey goes back for it. 3 seconds left on the power play. Sorry, that was Reinhart. Reinhart's the one who got hammered there. Reinhart's 13. Back in the play, though. Doesn't go to the bench. Huberdeau, we're back at even strength. Carrying in, shot. Blocked by Mortson. Here comes Nylander. Nylander to Marner. Marner to Nylander. Nylander has it poked away from him before he can get the shot off. Barkov to Reinhart. Reinhart. Tired legs for Sam Reinhart. Florida needs a change here. Barkov to Svela. Svela loses it to Marner. Gets it to Armstrong. Here's Nylander with some room to skate. Nylander sends it. Whips it around. Marner retrieves. Marner skates middle. Shot. Deflected wide. Nylander into the corner. Kicks it along the boards. Armstrong feed in front to Marner. Marner tries to get the shot off. He can't, but Armstrong does. Hay has it blocked for Haig. Carries out for Florida. Toronto, opportunity on the doorstep to make it a 2-goal game. Unable to pull the trigger. Feed in front by Lundell. It's blocked by Broda, who smothers it. Lundell's pass there a little bit too close to the goal. And Broda is able to pick it off himself. 14:42 left in the third. Svela's shot is blocked. Mellanby can't pull the trigger. Here's King Clancy through the neutral zone. Clancy sends it down behind the Florida net. Marner goes into the corner for it. Marner carries front, save on the backhand. Marner tries to stuff one home, but Luongo is up to it. Face-off one, Campbell. Holly the Bernadoodle makes her presence felt. She doesn't want to miss Game 7 either. Here's Booth across the blue line. Booth carries it deep, goes around behind the net, feeds it in front to Mellanby. Can't pull the trigger on the shot. Alan Stanley gets it down the ice. And they're going to have an icing call here. So Toronto continues to step up their penalty kill, which had, as we've mentioned a couple of times here, has been miserable throughout the playoffs. They've been allowing a 26% clip. But they have killed off 7 in this game after killing off 5 in Game 6. That is living dangerously, though. Horton to Kozlov. Kozlov, beautiful feed to Lundell, but it gets tied up in his skates a little bit. Lundell never gets the shot off. Alan Stanley being pressured. Gets it to Rick Bave through the neutral zone. 12:20 left in the third. Lundell to Horton. Horton evades the check, shovels it down behind the Toronto net. King Clancy goes back for it. There's Horner. Out of the box. Horner gets hammered along the board. Clancy to Matthews. Auston Matthews to Babe Dye. Back to Matthews. Matthews tees it up. It's blocked. Van Ryn to Campbell. Campbell's pass can't be handled. Sittler gets control. Matthews tries to fight through traffic. Campbell gets control of the puck. Gets it to Barkov. Barkov tries to send it up, but that pass is intercepted. Clancy to Sittler. Sittler from the circle. Feed into the middle. Barkov intercepts. Gets it to Campbell. Here's Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer across center ice. Takes the blue line. Corner steers it into the corner. Now behind the net. Corner is bodied off the puck, though. Barkov goes back for it. Feed in front to Niedermeyer. Clancy forces him wide. Forsling's pass misses the mark. Here comes Red Horner. Horner leaves it for Dye across the blue line. Inside 10 minutes left in the third. Shot, glove save. Luongo holds on with Darryl Sittler on the doorstep. Make sure there's no loose change for Sittler to pick up. Clark, Kennedy, and Armstrong. Jokinen, Reinhardt, and Dadonov, your forward line. 9:52 left in regulation in Game 7. Chiefs lead it 2-1. Winner here will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals here in Year 1 of the Legend Sports Universe Hockey League. Clark. Clark gets checked. Sends it down behind the net. Van Ryn kicks it along the end boards. Nobody there, though. Dadonov is taken down. Oh, boy. A boarding call on Wendell Clark. Look, Clark is obviously prone to some tactics, but that looks like a clean hit to me. I got no dog in this fight, but the officiating has been a little bit questionable here in Game 7. Toronto's kill has to do it for an 8th time here in Game 7. Brewer off the glass gets it clear. Verhey goes back for it. Wendell Clark is still chirping in the penalty box. He's got some justification there. Keon sends it behind the Florida net. Shot. Saved by Luongo. Fans watching in Toronto cannot be happy with the penalty slant in this game. Stanley's pass kicked off. Kozlov to Svela. Here's Verhey. Verhey through the neutral zone. Across the blue line. Jokinen. Jokinen between the circles. Shot saved by Broda, who holds on. The Leafs have played about half this game, it feels like, shorthanded. An exaggeration, but not much of one. They still have a 2-1 lead. Campbell keeps it in his zone, tees it up, but the slapper misses the mark by a mile. Huberdeau gets it off the boards. He has it picked off by Stanley. Or Armstrong gets it clear. 52 seconds left on the Panthers' 8th power play of the game. Reinhardt gets crushed along the board. Armstrong flips it out. It's going to go down the ice, run off some more clock. That'll take us inside 30 seconds left on the Panthers' power play. Campbell to Barkov. Barkov across to Huberdeau. Good defending there from Stanley. But Stanley turns it over. Campbell. Campbell, shot saved by Broda. And Broda leaves it for Brewer. Broda decides not to hold on to that one. Tries to leave it. A questionable call there on the kill by Turk Broda. Perhaps trying to catch Florida napping. No harm, no foul. Toronto sends it down the ice. And the penalty comes to a close. The Panthers are 0 for 8. And it's taken by Clark out of the box. Clark rushes in. Shot saved by Luongo. Oh, Wendell Clark called for the questionable penalty. Gets the puck right as he comes out of the box. And almost made this a 2-goal game. 6:47 remaining. Back at even strength. Florida wins the draw. Svela up on the near side boards. Mellenby to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer to Svela. Back to Niedermeyer across the blue line. Niedermeyer loses control. Here's Sittler. Sittler sends it. Keon To Dye. Dye rushes in. Luongo with the stop. Florida trying to get it clear, and they do. Mortson keeps it in the zone. Mortson is taken down. No call. Feed into the front. Shot by Sittler. Luongo with the glove save. And Toronto is riding the referee hard here. They wanted a penalty there at the point. They've been called for less in this one. Thompson tees up. Misses the mark. Hits off the end board. Bounces back towards the net. Luongo is able to trap it. Keep chaos from ensuing. Booth, Niedermeyer, and Mellenby for Florida. Sittler, Keon, and Dye for the Maple Leafs. Again, 2 hits there from Florida and no calls. Again, not saying there should have been, but those things have been called against the Leafs in this one. Another hit there along the board. That one not called on Toronto. Banked off the boards. Here's Mortson. Mortson feeds to Sittler. Sittler loses control of it. Mike Van Ryn gets it to Booth. 4:40 remaining in Game 7. Jokinen. Carry. Shot. Pad. Saved by Broda. Alan Stanley retrieves. Jokinen fighting with him for it. Sends it behind the net for Haig. Out to the point to Van Ryn. Van Ryn's shot doesn't make it through, but Jokinen's shot does. Tie game here in the third. Ole Jokinen. His 6th goal of the playoffs. With 4:12 remaining. In Game 7, Ole Jokinen ties the game. Shot through traffic is blocked, but Jokinen gets control, and with 2 defenders with him, gets just enough past Alan Stanley to get the backhander off over the shoulder of Broda. Over the glove. Tie game, Game 7. There's that balanced scoring we talked about the Panthers. 6th goal. Kozlov and Van Ryn on the assist. Ole Jokinen ties Game 7 at 2. Oh, wow. What a series this has been. Matthews, feed to Marner. Marner's shot partially blocked. Luongo covers it up. What a job from Jokinen. He's had plenty of opportunities. Broda's denied him all game long. Shot just through traffic. Jokinen gobbles up the loose puck. And we are tied. 3:42 left in regulation. Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals. Clancy, shot, blocked. Spela gets it to Horton. Horton. Past the blue line, shot, saved by Broda. 34 saves for Turk Broda in this one for the Maple Leafs. Marner, Matthews, and Nyland are out for Toronto. Lundell, Kozlov, and Horton, your forward line for the Panthers. Kozlov wins the draw. Spela's pass picked off by Marner. Lundell wins it back, though. Lundell's shot goes wide. Clancy to Nylander. Nylander sends it around behind and around the boards. Forsling into the corner. He gets pressured down there by Marner, who comes out of there with it. Marner's centering pass is intercepted, though. Horton to Lundell. Poked away. Nice work there by Armstrong. Armstrong. Some say that's going to be an icing call. Player zigged. He thought he was going to zag, and it goes down behind the net for the icing. Clark, Kennedy, and Armstrong. Lundell, Kozlov, and Horton. 2:10 remaining in Game 7. Stanley. Pass can't be handled. Armstrong scoops it up, though. George Armstrong. Down behind the net. Takes it all the way around the boards. Out to the point. Clancy. Clancy feeds Kennedy. Back to Clancy. Clancy tees up. Deflected, and Luongo stays with it. Oh, a redirect there on Clancy's shot, but Luongo hangs with it and covers it up. Both teams' top lines now out there, a minute 29 remaining. Barkov wins the draw, but Toronto ends up with it quickly. Brewer's shot misses the mark. Nylander tries to get it. Big hit from Horner, but Verhaeghe comes out of there with it. Verhaeghe across the blue line, carrying in. Good defending there by Carl Brewer. Brewer to Matthews. Matthews to Nylander. Nylander fends off the check. His pass can't be handled, though. Goes all the way through. Verhaeghe hits Barkov. Matthews wins it. 43 seconds remain. Red Horner. Horner. Pass left there from Matthews. Toronto a little dangerous in their own end there. Brewer gets across ice to Horner. Horner across the blue line. Horner tees up. Slapper misses the mark. Mikkola behind the net. He's being pressured there by Marner. Mikkola kicks it along the end boards. Van Ryn gets it for the Panthers. Verhaeghe across the blue line through the neutral zone. He's going to send it behind the Toronto net around the boards. Marner to Horner. 15 seconds left. Clancy leaves it for Horner. Horner puts it behind the net. Toronto tries to get the forecheck going. Forsling has it. Wendell Clark pressuring it. Locked up along the end boards. Clark feed to Marner. Shot saved by Luongo. 0.6 seconds left, and Mitch Marner on the feed from Wendell Clark tees it up, but Luongo holds on. The faceoff here should pretty much end regulation, and it does. Overtime for the third straight game. Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinal. We're deadlocked at 2. Oh, wow. Oh, man, this has been fun. This has been fun. What a game. What a series. So Florida with the big shots advantage, 36-23. Toronto still with the slight hits advantage there, 22-18. Face-offs have been pretty much even. But Florida, 0 for 8 on the power play. Florida's only had one penalty called against them, and that is absolutely going to be a storyline at the end of this game, particularly if the Panthers end up winning this. Take a look, the only goal of the period. Olli Jokinen, Verhaeghe down in the corner. Gets it out to the point. Mike Van Ryn shot, and you can see there's all sorts of traffic. It's deflected, and it sits there in the midst of the traffic. Jokinen scoops it, gets it just ahead of Alan Stanley. Flips the backhander top shelf over the glove of Turk Broda. And that, right now, stands as the biggest moment in this game. There's going to be one bigger, though. That's guaranteed. We head to overtime. Game 7, 2-2. Leafs and Panthers. So here we go. Sudden death. Literally. Marner. Well, all right, maybe not literally. But to their playoff lives. Sudden death for someone. Toronto has it. Clancy. Battle along the near side board. Svela comes out of there with it. Barkov to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe has it poked away. Clancy gets it across to Stanley. Back to Clancy. Clancy looking for an option to get it out. Here's Matthews. Auston Matthews sends it behind the Florida net. Forecheck going. Nylander gets there. Nylander forces it. Shot saved by Luongo. Nylander chases his own rebound down in the corner. Svela gets control of. Svela's pass can't be handled. Stanley has it. Stanley to Matthews. There's going to be a penalty, and it's on the Panthers. Jonathan Huberdeau is going to the box for Florida. Who's that he hit? Is that Stanley or is that Horner? I couldn't see who he hit. But Huberdeau takes a inopportune, we'll call it, penalty for the Panthers. Maple Leafs only their second power play opportunity of the game. They have killed off 8 penalties in this one. Now they have a chance to end it on the power play in overtime. Van Ryn to Lundell. Lundell flips it, goes behind the Toronto net. Fave goes backward. Fave with an errant clearance, but Toronto wins it back. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy across the blue line. Fave to Clark. Clark feed down low. Lundell intercepts. Banks it off the board. It's going to go all the way down in the Toronto end behind their net, and the Leafs will have to reset. Fave reverses direction. Pass there to Keon. Keon being ridden by Mikkola. Loses control of the puck. Dye turns it over. Here's Lundell. Lundell to Mikkola. Mikkola shot wide of the mark. Misses by a country mile. Keon to Clark. Toronto trying to break out. Fave has it poked away by Mikkola. Mikkola's had a really good series. He's played very well for Clark. Clark Dye. And there's going to be another penalty, and it's another one on the Panthers. Wow. So the penalties were so skewed in favor of the Panthers. And Lundell, he hooks Wendell Clark around the arm there, doesn't let him free. And now in overtime of Game 7, 5-on-3 for a very dangerous Maple Leaf squad. Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. 53 seconds of 5-on-3. King Clancy rips a shot, saved by Luongo. To call the crowd here in Florida nervous right now is an understatement. Next goal wins. Vela off the boards. Sends it down. First man there is Barkov, though. Barkov tries to get it into the middle, but Sittler is able to win it. Nylander pass. Picked off by Kulikov. He flips it. It's going to go down behind the Toronto net. Clancy to Sittler. Cross to Nylander to Matthews. Matthews' pass. Clancy. Back to Matthews. Pass across. Marner tries to get control of it. Kulikov wins it from him. Tries to get it clear. Sittler keeps it from going all the way down the ice, though. Nylander to Marner. To Matthews across the blue line. Feed in front. Kulikov picks it off. The 5-on-3 is over. Now there's still 1:07 left of a man advantage for Toronto. Clancy to Matthews. Auston Matthews shot, score! Auston Matthews with the game winner for the Maple Leafs. In overtime, Auston Matthews sends the Maple Leafs into the Eastern Conference Finals. Tees it up for the goal. And the Maple Leafs, the 8th seed in the East, star power carries them in Game 7 for the win. 8 penalties killed off. Terrific performance by Turk Broda, but it's the league's leading scorer, Auston Matthews, who punches the ticket to the Eastern Conference Final with the game winner in overtime. 3-2, Maple Leafs advance. Wow. Oh, what a game. What a series. 3 straight overtime wins. Florida led this series 3-1. And the Leafs win 3 straight in overtime to punch their ticket. 2 goals on the day for Auston Matthews, who only gets second star despite 2 goals, including the game winner. Turk Broda is your top star. 34 saves for Broda. Several of them highlight reel. And a postseason that has seen Broda not at his best sees him come through in the biggest of moments. Oh, wow. What fun. I'll tell you, look, I mean, I love calling baseball, I guess, is, if I have such a thing. I don't mean this to sound arrogant in any way, but if I have a bread and butter as far as calling any of these sports, I still certainly think it's baseball. But man, calling hockey is so fun. It really is just the pace. It's like a different challenge. It's a different energy. It's just a whole different vibe. But what a blast, especially with a game like this. Auston Matthews, he kind of look at it, he kind of pulls it back and hesitates just a moment. Defender drifts a little bit past him, and Matthews rips it. I'll be honest with you, Luongo has to make that save. I know that's easier said than done, but given the distance of that shot, and yes, it's Auston Matthews, and I realize that. But there's a fairly clean lane. I know Matthews looks obscured, but that's still a fairly clear sight line for Luongo there. That is the save that you need Roberto Luongo to make. Certainly credit to Matthews for hitting an absolute rocket of a shot. Easy to say he should have made the save from up here in the booth. I recognize. Well, our final four are set. Colorado, Minnesota in the west. Tampa Bay, Toronto in the east. I thank you as always for joining me. Again, check the Substack link. I'll drop that into the chat. It's also in the video description. Been doing a lot more write-ups for what's going on in the Legend Sports universe. Again, I talk so frequently about how the best part of sports simulation, particularly doing dynasty franchise kind of stuff like I'm doing here, but all sports simulation, the stories are what matter. Even if you do a one-off exhibition game, you know, you want the story of this great team playing that great team and that kind of thing. It sets up a story. It's a built-in story. The stories are what make the hobby. And I'm trying to do a lot more about writing about the stories that form throughout the course of the Legend Sports universe. It is free. I will never charge for anything. I know a lot of Substack stuff is paid subscribers and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I don't see any reason to do that. This is just a hobby of mine that I'm happy to share with people and hope that other people enjoy. So feel free to go and like and read up on some of the stuff I've been doing there. I'm doing something pretty much every day or every other day. At least I just started it a little bit more than a week ago. But it's been fun getting back into writing, which is my, well, one thing, it's my job, but but just getting back into the writing side of things. That's how I started doing Dynasty stuff way back when I was doing stuff for ODB. So I'm happy to be back doing that here with the entirety of the Legend Sports universe. Greatly appreciate you all, as always, for tuning in. Bang that like button if you haven't as of yet. Subscribe if you haven't as of yet. And most importantly, be good to each other. And we'll talk soon. The Maple Leafs, their third straight overtime winner, sends them into the Eastern Conference Finals with a Game 7 win over the Panthers.